Hi, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. My name is Grace Bell. So happy to have you with me. I've had some wonderful emails and input and insights from people working with them directly in solo sessions just in the past week around appearance, body image issues, and the way it's related to an eating compulsion or thought compulsion around eating and food and a discomfort, lack of peace when it comes to food, eating, and your body. And that is just simply noticing and identifying what your assumptions are about your appearance. Now, I've definitely spoken before to physical appearance. There's a huge variety, and there's all kinds of things that go into it. Stress around physical appearance, what you think you should look like, what you think what you do appear like means to other people. But in a deep way, we all know that this body image thing, this appearance and how I show up in the world in a body, the thing that I'm most concerned about is what other people are thinking, right? So we all know that. I'm making assumptions about what other people are thinking and what it means to be the way I look. Now, this kind of dilemma, or what I thought other people were thinking, the rules and the laws and the assumptions and the ideas that I had about what other people are thinking of me began when I was like 14 or 13. And they led right into eating issues. From, like my idea I had is I need to change or maintain or fix or make more perfect the way I appear to people. Oh, I know the way I'm going to do it because it's out there everywhere. The way I'll do that and fix that and make it perfect is by changing my eating. Thus began the road of lots of very confusing, very conflicted ideas about food and eating and movement and exercise. What I actually wanted to speak to today was our concerns about how we appear to other people, but at an emotional level. Because this can continue a long way into life, and this can live for people who have maybe never had trouble with food and eating compulsion. Maybe there's other compulsions or worries you have in your mind that have to do with what you think other people are thinking of you, how you appear, but not so much physically or in your body, but maybe even how you appear, emotionally, what the energy is like for you, what people are thinking of you when you're in their presence, when you meet them, when you hang out with them, even if you're close with them. So this is a really interesting thing when it goes awry, when it goes off, when you are worried about what other people are thinking and you have a lot of concern or fear about that they're thinking poorly of you. So one interesting place that appears, that somebody actually shared with me, is those other people are thinking, will think that I'm a disappointment. If they knew the truth of what I was thinking, like I know I've spoken before about if I say no to that person, they'll be really upset. But let's just move this into a broader realm. It's not just if I say no, but if I really tell the truth, if I say what's upsetting me or bothering me, if I, make a boundary or if I express my honest opinion, if I share with them, heart to heart, what it is I feel, maybe I'm uncomfortable with it. The only place I notice that nervousness appears around that is if I'm worried about what the other person will think of me, what they might do, how they might react, what they'll say. Perhaps I will meet rejection. Maybe they'll be so unhappy they'll abandon me. Or maybe they'll be so unhappy with the truth of what I'm speaking, they'll assert something, they'll do something harmful, and my feelings will be hurt. They'll say something mean, right? And it's really interesting that this starts at a really super young age. Compulsion's not involved at all. It's just beliefs in the mind about the necessity to have contact and be connected with those other people. It's like this great desire for intimacy. I have a great desire for intimacy, and I also am protective of intimacy. I'm careful because I really am worried about what somebody else will do. or say or think, what they'll be feeling about me. One great question to ask is, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? They could think X about me. I'm snooty, or I'm bossy, or I'm too introverted, or I don't care about them, or I know I am a competitor to them, or I've done something wrong. So what's the worst that could happen? And as I mentioned, it's either like they'd abandon me or they'd attack me. I'm going to get hurt either way, with abandonment or attack. At least it sort of boils down to those two options for me, I'm going to get hurt. Some people lean one way or the other with a stronger sense of fear. Are you more afraid of being abandoned by people, or are you more afraid of being attacked by people? I found over and over again early on, when I began to do self-inquiry and really, really look at the assumptions I had that were disturbing, it was often abandonment. I was so worried about abandonment. If I really speak up and tell the truth, that person's going to ditch me and never talk to me again. So I really got to know what it is I need to question, this kind of assumption. So one way to really get to that, I know I just mentioned this question, what's the worst that could happen? But see when it has happened in your life. What's a situation that you remember, that you've logged in the files here in your mind, that suggest, because you were the way you were honestly, because you told the truth, because you showed up, and were vulnerable, or said something, or did something, expressed yourself, somebody else was upset. They got disturbed. They decided that they wanted to never speak to you again, or hang the phone up on you, or they said something mean. They maybe talked about you to other people. They gossiped about you and they spread the word. This is what the person is like. Any kind of situation like that, where you feel like you ignited discomfort in somebody else because of the way you are, that is an incredible place to look. It is a story that is deeply painful and can really, really bring out extreme suffering and stress. In fact, the way it's tied to compulsive behavior is, I am so concerned about telling the truth. I need to push it down so hard and make sure that I'm not honest and I don't reveal what I'm thinking in a certain given situation, that I turn to food and eating to kind of like, diffuse the energy, or get my comfort over here, or be distracted. So I'm eating or doing this kind of compulsive behavior, or whatever your chosen behavior is, in order to make sure people approve of me. It's kind of where I need to suppress the truth about me, or not be vulnerable, eat, and then I will be safe because people will be approving of me. The only thing is, of course, that keeps a long cycle going of not being honest. And nobody really likes to hide themselves or be dishonest or not tell the truth. The easiest, most free, beautiful way to be in this world is to feel like you can completely show up very, very honestly and openly, with no barriers between you and others. But it's difficult, not easy. And when it's a pattern, like I've had, of showing up, let's say the pattern of being too nice. Notice. It's comfortable to be kind and nice and gentle. That's actually more my style. I don't feel like I'm a very abrupt person. I also love blunt people who just tell it like it is. I actually get a kick out of them. It's not so much the way my family was raised, and so it's like this unusual new, okay, great. I get surprised by it and I enjoy it a lot. But that's after being in self-inquiry and looking at the assumptions about this. I really like it's like they're telling it like it is. It's very funny sometimes. It's not always how I felt. I actually would be nervous often when somebody was really confrontive and direct or kind of blunt, and didn't soften the blow of the truth with gentler, kinder words. And I remember feeling like that and being so nervous about speaking up or asking for what I wanted or making a request or saying, actually, I don't think I want to get together and go to that movie. Not really interested, whatever it was, that I would make excuses to get out of a situation. I remember being 19 years old, 20 years old, when I would say I was very indirect, and needed to really learn how to honestly say what it is I wanted to do clearly, or what it is I needed to say to somebody. Long before that, I would, just try to figure out any way that I could get out of something, without actually just directly saying, I don't want to do that, or I need to get out of it. I remember having a wonderful conversation in my early 20s with a very dear friend who had started dating a man. And she said, it's been going really well. I've had quite a few dates and we've gotten to know each other better, but I know I don't want this to go any further. I'd prefer to be just friends with this guy. I'm actually interested in another man and dating him. How do I get out of it? I got to figure out how to get out of it. And I remember that conversation vividly with this dear friend of mine who was a very kind and very loving person, not wanting to directly say no to the guy she was dating because she didn't want to hurt his feelings. Thing is, it is going to be uncomfortable sometimes to be truthful. Uncomfortable because it's new and different, and uncomfortable because there that person is. They may very, very much have that reaction that you think is devastating or terrible or the worst that could happen. They might not like it. They might not like what you have to say. But here's what I love to do, and here's what I find I notice happens. The honesty is laid out, then there is a next opportunity. Like we'll often think the assumption is, oh my God, that relationship is now over. Person's never going to speak to me again. It never really quite works that way. Even if you've had somebody in your life cut you off forever, I have had that experience. It is quite painful. But I also have been able to question my thinking around that person's cutoff and that they're doing the best they can and they just don't know how to do it any other different way. They're keeping themselves safe, and in many ways this is not personal. I could reach out to them. I could also not reach out to them. There's been people who I've had in my life that I notice overall it's kinder or easier in the end for us not to communicate regularly, or there's, sort of not a reason why we need to. And it's just okay, but I don't know if it's forever. I have no idea that that's the case. I might be drawn to reach out. The thing is, there's something that happens next after the initial expression of honesty. So, you need to say something. You need to bring it up. Well, it's new, it's real, it's vulnerable, it's intimate, and so you're going to have some adrenaline. It's going to make you nervous. But I tell you, that is worth every second of higher heart rate. It's better than moving over here to a compulsive behavior that's actually somewhat self-destructive or makes you feel unhappy and sad and stuck, like eating or using some other kind of addictive behavior or another substance. Ultimately, it kind of feels harder initially to be completely honest and intimate, but in the end, it's easier. It's easier on you. It's easier on the other person. I have experienced this ease based on personal dynamics between me and another person. To question my assumptions about the worst case scenario, I've actually had those things happen. Somebody getting really mad and upset and wanting to yell at me because of my honest truth. And somebody feeling so hurt they wanted to cut me off and never talk to me again. Everyone's had this kind of moment. You just can't be perfect and have everything working, so that I don't know, if perfection is that nobody's ever upset with you, that's a good thing to question. Question that assumption. No one should ever be upset with me, ever. People will have their opinions. They will have their projections just like I have had mine. And it's wonderful to meet that with a deep understanding, like a really beautiful love. And the best way I know to do that is the work of Byron Katie. So identifying that hard assumption about how you think someone else is going to be with you if you tell the truth, if you show up the way you are. Just the same way as I've spoken of in the past in other eating peace videos about the body and appearance. I'm showing up the way I am. Here I am, this weight, these clothing items, a body that looks like whatever it does, and I'm acceptable and I belong here. And I can connect with people and I can experience love and I can not take things personally. Same with my emotional experience of other people and my conversations that I have. So telling the truth, wow, telling the truth, worth it. Worth the extra heartbeats. I have even found directly, I remember this myself, but working with other people, when they speak the truth, when they share what they're really, really thinking, all urge, really honestly, all urge for compulsive behavior dissolves. Suddenly there's this incredible peace. There's a deep peace. So there's eating peace, there's being peace. There's not a need for any frantic behavior that kind of helps you calm down, or you don't need to go get something to help you calm down, right? You can just relax, and you may have to ride through a little bit of a roller coaster adventure emotionally before you reach that point, but it's worth every word said in honest love. And I know you can do it. There is a way ultimately to, it might be clunky and you might not do it beautifully, and you might have to say, I feel really, really awkward right now and it's really hard for me to say this, but here it is. Here's the truth, and I'm worried about hurting you, but this is what I need to say. You can say all that. And when you're really, really honest and really connected with yourself, and you could just breathe and take your time and say what you need to say, it comes out kind. It really does, best you can. I mean, somebody might be disappointed. Somebody might want to leave the room. They might not want to talk to you for a while. They might be angry. But who knows what will happen then or next. And if you have no expectations of the outcome, letting it be the way it is, just continue to question your assumptions. So, write down your worst case scenario. What's the worst that could happen? That person could abandon me or they could attack me. If I'm abandoned, if I'm attacked, will I survive? Is it true that that would flatten me for life? Is it true I couldn't handle it? Is that true? Probably not. How do I react when I believe I can't handle it? They're going to abandon me. They're going to attack me. How do I react when I believe that thought? You can see all the difficulty, the pain. Who would you be without that thought? Who would you be if you couldn't even enter your mind, if it couldn't even enter your mind that you could be abandoned or attacked, not make it, not handle it? Who would you be without that story in connection with other people? And then turn it around. Instead of being abandoned, I could be set free. I could be joined. I could feel love and connection. There's a lot of opposites. Ultimately, full-blown turnaround, biggest opposite of all is I'm worried about abandoning myself in the situation. When it comes to that other person and what I need to say and tell the truth, could I be abandoning myself or thinking that my truth is wrong or attacking myself for speaking up? Am I, connected to myself and willing to stay with myself no matter what? No mental attacking and starting to criticize me for being who I am. So one thing I can really do is hold steady with not abandoning myself and not attacking myself. and feel that feeling, feel it steady in the body. Because as I feel that, other people will also wind up feeling that from me, that I'm not abandoning myself, I'm not attacking myself. And they'll feel connected to that as well. And they'll show up however they show up. No expectations of the outcome. But wow, so worth it being honest and telling the truth. So worth it. It is so worth it because I find the compulsion dissolves. The need for escape or avoidance or comfort through some kinds of substance in this world or activity actually seems to disappear. And that is totally worth telling the truth. All right, let me know how it goes, everybody.